in the video you're about to watch, this is actually supposed to be negative, and I don't know what I did with the sign. But if you're talking about between pi over 2 and pi, then secant and cosine are both negative here. Sorry. So what you're going to see how to do all this. Just note at the end it's supposed to be that's supposed to be a negative there. Okay, that's a negative 2 squared to 3 over 3. So we're asked to figure out what secant. Oh, sorry, we're asked to figure out what x is, given that secant of x is equal to 2 squared to 3 over 3. And they give us this information over here. Look, that's 90 degrees, that's 180 degrees, so they're saying x is an angle that terminates somewhere over in this quadrant, somewhere between 90 and 180 degrees. Okay, so they've also told us that this is going to be something we can do with reference triangles, which means we can use these triangles where we have a hypotenuse of 1, and then if you have an angle of 30 degrees, that's 1/2, that's opposite of it. And then if you have a 60-degree angle, that's square root of 3 over 2. And then I could draw the other one. It's just 45, 45 for the two other angles. And then it's square root of 2 over 2 for each side. But the one we want is something to do with square root of 3, right? We have to have square root of 3 in our answer. So there's only one angle that's going to help us. But you're going to want to keep in mind what the secant ratio is. Secant is 1 over cosine. Or in other words, secant is the hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. It's the reciprocal of cosine. So we want to be using the adjacent, and the hypotenuse, with our simplified way of doing this, the hypotenuse is always 1, so we've got that fixed. We don't have to juggle around what the hypotenuse could be. The adjacent is the thing that has to have our square root of 3 in it. So remember, this is always your reference angle. That means this is the opposite side, so this has to be the adjacent side. So we need square root of 3 over 2 here. Right? And so that would mean this side's 1/2, so that this is a 30-degree angle in here. And so I think we're done. The way you can verify that this is actually correct is secant of x is it's supposed to equal 2 square root of 3 over 3. So if we do the secant ratio, it's just the reciprocal of cosine. It's the hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. It's the hypotenuse divided by the adjacent. And if you do this math, you've got to flip and multiply a fraction, right? And so we got 2 square roots of 3, and you're like, wait a second, that's not the same thing. You can get the same thing by rationalizing the denominator. Usually we don't want square roots in the denominator, so we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by square root of 3. Okay, so you got 2 square roots of 3 over 3, and that's exactly what we were looking for, right? This is 2 square roots of 3 over 3, and this is 2 square roots of 3 over 3. So we've done it. By making this be 30 degrees, our triangle is drawn such that the secant ratio is 2 square roots of 3 over 3 like we wanted. Okay, so to say what that angle is, remember, this is a 30-degree angle in here, so 180 makes a full semicircle. So this must be 150 degrees. Or if you want it in radians, you can put a pi in there and divide by 180. And if you simplify that fraction, the top and the bottom are both divisible by 30. So this is 5 pi over 6.